Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Krauss House of Art. I'm your host, Mr. Krauss, and I'm bringing art to your house. Today we're going to be making a Picasso-style portrait, but we're going to be doing it by playing a little game I came across. Before we go over the rules of the game, we're going to learn a little bit about the artist of the week, Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso, born October 25, 1881, was a Spanish painter, sculptor, and printmaker who spent most of his adult life in France. Regarded as one of the most influential artists of the 20th century, he is known for co-founding the Cubist movement. Since its emergence over 100 years ago, Cubism has been regarded as one of modern art's most famous and fascinating art movements. It features fractured forms and topsy-turvy compositions. Cubism abandons realistic portrayals found in other art movements and moves towards total abstraction. This has made Cubism one of the 20th century's most celebrated forms of art. Now that you've learned a little bit about Pablo Picasso, let's go over the rules of the game we're going to play. This game is called Roll A Picasso. You're going to need at least one 6-sided die to play. We will be rolling the die 8 times and using this chart to determine what our Picasso portrait looks like. You can either pause the video here, or you can download the whole chart from the link below. Before we start rolling and making our Picasso, let's go over what materials we're going to need. For this project, you'll need a canvas or paper, a pencil, a marker, and if you want to add color, I recommend watercolor paints. The first roll is to determine the shape of the head for our portrait. Whatever number it lands on is the shape that we will use for our portrait. The second roll and the third roll will both determine the eyes. The fourth roll is the nose, the fifth roll is the mouth, the sixth roll is the ear, the seventh roll is any detail that you're going to add, and the 8th roll is whatever patterns you're going to use. You don't have to follow the chart exactly, you can use it as a guide. Now that we know the materials we're going to need and we've gone over the rules of the game, let's get started. Alright, first roll is for the head. I got a 2. Looks like I'm going to use this shape. Next, we're going to roll for the eyes. Since we have 2 eyes, we're going to roll twice. My first roll is a 1, so we're going to use this eye. Now I'm going to roll for the second eye. I rolled a 5, so I'm going to use this eye. The next roll is for the nose. Another 5, so I get to use this nose. Now I'm going to roll for the mouth. A 4. And now I'm going to roll for the ear. But to give it a more Cubist feel, I'm only going to give it 1 ear. Oh, and I rolled a 1. We're going to roll for the detail that we add. Another 1. Next, I'm going to roll for the pattern. You can put the pattern wherever you like. I'm going to put the pattern in the hair, but you could also put it in a shirt or in the background. It's up to you. I rolled another 1. So I'm going to give a shape for the hair, and then I'm going to fill it in with the pattern. If you want to add more detail, just keep rolling. Ooh, a 6! I get to do a guitar. And just to balance out the space, I'm going to add a quick little body. Now that we have a cool Picasso portrait, let's add some color. I'm going to get out my painting supplies. Let's get started. Remember, wet your brush first. Wet your watercolor paint a little bit. If you get a drip, just use your paper towel and give it a quick wipe. Also, you'll notice that I'm painting right over my lines. That's because I used a permanent marker. If you didn't use a permanent marker, just paint right near your lines. Don't paint over them. If you're going to switch colors, rinse your brush, wipe it off, and get your next color. Every time you switch colors, remember to rinse your brush real good and wipe it off. And then get your next color. You'll also notice that I don't try and get as dark as I can right away. I do it lightly, and then I'll go back and do another layer to make it darker. You can add as much color as you like. If you want to make it bolder, just let it dry and then repeat what we just did as many times as you like. And this is our finished Pablo Picasso style Cubist portrait. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the link below. You can also follow us on our new Patreon page, where you can get extra activities, lessons, and behind the scenes interviews with Hugh, and much, much more. Thank you for joining me for this lesson. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Krauss House of Art.